be like, what is this channel? It's just, I go from waxing myself to making a recipe video or just holding on to the reins and seeing where this takes us. Today's video is going to be 4 high protein vegan breakfast recipe ideas. It's kind of a common misconception that vegans don't get enough protein. Pretty much as long as you eat like a pretty balanced diet and eat enough calories, you're gonna get enough protein no matter what. But you can always get more protein, you know? And also a lot of times eating a high protein meal kind of keeps you fuller longer, so it can like sustain you through the day. So I'm gonna be sharing with you guys 4 vegan breakfast ideas, and they're very intuitive, interpretive. I don't really like to follow recipes or anything. I just kind of like to flow with it. 3 out of 4 of these recipes I've never made before, and the first time I made them was on camera, and I'm telling you right now that they were 100% really good. It was definitely an experiment, but they were all amazing, so I definitely recommend them. I'm just gonna kind of take you through how I made them. But like I said, it's very interpretive, so a lot of the ingredients you can kind of, you know, use other things if you want, like especially for the vegetables and stuff. If you want to use other vegetables, you can do that. Okay, so the first recipe is a vegan protein smoothie bowl. And if you don't want to have a smoothie bowl, you could just make it into a smoothie. Just make the consistency less thick by adding a little bit more liquid. So it can either be a protein smoothie or a smoothie bowl. So this is kind of my go-to recipe because it's super easy to make, really quick, really healthy, and it tastes really good. So basically I just use frozen berries and frozen fruit. I kind of just buy a mixed frozen fruit bag, so it usually has like pineapple, banana, mango, and that kind of thing in it. And then the berries is just like mixed berries. So I add frozen fruit, and then I add a kind of a combination of plant milk. So I use almond milk, and then I use orange juice and some water. I like the almond milk to make it kind of creamy, but then I like the orange juice to make it kind of tangy, and then I just add water so that it's just to make it blend a little bit better. And then I use Vega protein powder, so I use the like tropical fruit flavor or something, but you can get, you know, use whatever flavor you want. Like I said, if you want to make it like a chocolate smoothie bowl, you can use frozen bananas and use like a chocolate vegan protein powder or a vanilla protein powder or whatever you want. So it's totally up to you. So basically I just blend that up, and if you want to add spinach or kale or whatever, you can do that. And then for the topping, I decided to make a peanut butter sauce to go on top. So to do this, I used powdered peanut butter, which you can buy online or find at, I think most grocery stores sell it now. I think it's probably just in the peanut butter aisle. But basically powdered peanut butter is peanut butter but without all the fat and oil in it. So it's like dried peanut butter, and you just mix it with a liquid or mix it with water or mix it in whatever, or you can put it in a smoothie, or basically you can bake with it. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. But it just adds like a peanut flavor to anything. So I mixed mine up with some almond milk until it became the consistency I wanted to, and it was kind of like a peanut sauce. So I put that on top of my smoothie bowl along with some chia seeds, some coconut, and some granola, and that's what I had. It was delicious, very thick, very good. I love having smoothie bowls in the morning, and adding protein powder to a smoothie makes it more sustainable and fulfilling, because a lot of times smoothies just, you know, you're hungry in like an hour after you eat them, but adding protein gives them a little bit more of sustenance. So the next thing that I made was a tempeh scramble, which I've never made before. The first time I ever made it was in this video, and I will definitely be making it again. I wouldn't be making this video if the recipes turned out horrible, so I'm only sharing them with you because they're actually good. So normally I make a tofu scramble, which is super easy. I've made it in a couple of my videos before, and it's kind of the same concept, but instead of using tofu, I basically just use tempeh. And the reason I used tempeh was, first of all, I really love tempeh. I think I might like it more than tofu actually. And also tempeh is a lot higher in protein than tofu is. The only thing that's different is people usually make tofu scrambles because it resembles a scrambled egg, whereas the texture of tempeh is definitely not like a scrambled egg. So if you're going for like a vegan scrambled egg, definitely use tofu, but if you want like just a nice hearty protein scramble with veggies and stuff, then tempeh is the way to go. So I started out by just chopping up some onions, chopping up some red pepper, and just sauteing this in a little bit of olive oil. If you have a nonstick pan, then you don't need to use olive oil if you don't want to, but that's optional. I just used a little bit. And I just add a lot of spices. So I added some cumin, some garlic powder, salt, pepper. You can add like chili powder if you want it to be spicy. And then once they were sauteed, I took the tempeh and I crumbled it up, and it was pretty easy to do. Tempeh crumbles pretty easily, so I just crumbled it into smallish pieces. And then I like to cook my tempeh in a combination of liquid smoke, liquid aminos, and taco sauce. I use this combination of sauces for pretty much for like anything that I kind of want to have a meaty flavor. So I use it for tofu, and I use it for mushrooms, and I use it for tempeh. It is such a good combination. I definitely recommend it. If you don't have liquid smoke or liquid aminos, you can easily just use soy sauce. It's kind of the same thing. You can use taco sauce or you can use sriracha if you want to be spicier, or ketchup, or honestly whatever. You don't even have to use that if you don't want to. So I cooked the tempeh, and then I also added in maybe like a half cup of black beans to add even more protein to it. And then I also added in some spinach at the very end. So this was really easy to make. You just use one pan. It's very simple, and it was really, really, really good. I feel like this would be good to add in like a burrito or something. You can have like a breakfast burrito, or have it on toast, or like I did, just eat it by itself. You could put like ketchup or sriracha on top, or salsa or guacamole or whatever you want. It could easily be like a lunch or a dinner dish as well. But I love this one. This one is very high in protein and very satisfying. Okay, so the next thing that I made is a chickpea omelet. I've always wanted to make one of these and I never had before, so I really loosely used a recipe, which I will link down below, but I just kind of adapted it to my personal preference. The main ingredient here is chickpea flour. I found it at a bulk section in like a local grocery store. You'd probably have to go to a health food store to find it. I don't know if like normal grocery stores would have it, or you could buy it online or something. So you use the chickpea flour, and then you also use different spices to add flavor. So I used garlic powder, and then I used a lot of nutritional yeast, salt, and pepper. You can add whatever else you want. You can also add turmeric to make it have like a yellow look to it, even though chickpea flour is already yellow, but if you want it to be like more yellow to look like an actual omelet, you can add turmeric into it. And then I also added some apple cider vinegar, some baking soda, I think, and some lemon juice, and that was to make it bubbly and actually kind of fluff up. And then also some almond milk. So you mix everything together. So that's the batter made. In a separate pan, I cooked the vegetables separately so that they would be cooked. So I sauteed some mushrooms, some spinach, and some tomato, and just some light seasoning. And what you do is, if you have a nonstick pan, which you're gonna wanna have, which I didn't, and you will see what happened. I oiled the pan and everything, but it was a little bit of a disaster. So, oh, and then I also added in some vegan Parmesan cheese on the inside as well. What you do is you wanna have a round pan, nonstick, definitely preferred, and you pour the batter basically as much that covers the entire bottom of the pan, like in a round circular shape. Pour it in. I guess it's basically exactly how you would do a normal omelet, to be honest. Like, it's the same exact concept. It's just chickpea flour mixture instead, and not an actual like omelet mixture with egg. So you just pour it into the round pan and immediately put in your sauteed vegetables or your cooked vegetables on half of the omelet. And then you want to wait for the sides to bubble up and kind of cook around the edges. And then when it's cooked around the edges, you just flip over the other half onto the other half, so it's like folded into a half moon shape. And then you can put whatever you want on top. You can put like ketchup, sriracha, whatever. Again, it's up to you. Yeah, I didn't have a nonstick pan, so it basically just became a giant pile of mush. But I am gonna say it was really, really good. It tasted amazing. I actually love this so much. I think I'm gonna make this a lot. It's definitely like a hearty meal breakfast to have, and it was actually very easy to make. I feel like if you made like a big batch of batter, it would probably last you a couple days. So you could have it a couple days in a row. But yeah, even though it didn't really come out in the omelet shape, it did taste amazing. I really love this, and I'm definitely going to invest in a nonstick pan so I can make this properly next time. So the last recipe is my extremely thick, fluffy pancakes. These things are the thickest pancakes in the entire world, and they're also protein pancakes. So there's a recipe that I kind of very loosely follow online, and I will link it down below for you guys, but I tweak it a lot. So it's basically just normal flour, sugar. It's normal flour, sugar, baking powder, salt. I think that's it. And then like almond milk, you need a liquid. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of baking powder, which is a lot. I do not use that much. So I'm going to write down, I'm going to link the recipe that I use down below, but then I'm going to write the comp like underneath it, how I make it. I feel like it's hard for me to explain when I'm talking. I kind of need to write it down. But for this, I also added in some protein powder. So I took out the amount of protein powder that I used. I took out that amount of flour. So I didn't want it to be too dry. So I like replaced a scoop of flour with a scoop of protein powder, if that makes any sense. I used the Vega protein powder. I used the vanilla flavor, but you can use like chocolate flavor or any type of sweet flavor would work. And basically I cooked these in a round dish, and I made another thing of peanut sauce, and I basically just topped the pancakes with peanut sauce and maple syrup. And these were really good. They are so thick. I can't even get over how fluffy they are. Honestly, I could not finish these because they were so huge. I definitely think one would do, but the batter makes about 3 or 4 of these pancakes, depending on like how big your dish is and stuff. So if you use this recipe, just know that it's gonna make quite a lot of pancakes and they're gonna be really big. So I hope you're hungry. Okay, so those are the 4 high protein vegan breakfast recipe ideas. I hope this video inspired you, and like I said before, I'm going to write down the recipes down below because it's much easier for me to explain them in writing than to speak them, but I did try to kind of show you guys what I did and sort of the steps that I used, but it's very hard filming with one hand when you don't have a proper tripod or anyone to help you film. So I apologize for the not very thorough filming aspect of this video of the food, but I tried, okay? And that's all that matters. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!